Hello there, YouTubes, Twitches, and all the rest of it. Forgot to put the fucking lamp on again. So annoying. Anyway, hello there. Hopefully you enjoyed my new festive intro. When I say mine, someone sent that to me on social media. Apologies that I forget entirely who it was, but thank you nonetheless. I am feeling in a festive mood today. And I'll tell you for why. If you follow me on the social medias, which you should do, by the way, they're linked below if you're on the YouTubes. If you follow me on the Twitters or the Facebooks, you may have seen my at some point in the last nearly 4 years now, my nephew Zach, who is an amazing little kid. He's my one and only nephew to this point, and he's fucking epic. I would take a bullet for that kid, and that's one of the few moments you will see me being absolutely sincere about something other than politics on this show. And I got to spend some time with him because it's his birthday in a couple of days. He turns 4 years of age. It literally seems like yesterday he was born. But anyway, got to spend a little bit of time with him. And with some other family members, but I won't get to see him on his birthday because he's going to be his nan and granddad's, his mum's parents. Anyway, doesn't matter. So I got to spend the afternoon with him. It was very, very pleasant. But of course, there's always a fly in the ointment, isn't there? Because everyone else thought this was really cute, right? He was drawing. Doing drawings and stuff, because he's at that age now where it's not just scribbles on a page. There are vaguely definable forms. And so he was drawing people. He did a drawing of Rory Cats. He did a picture of me. He did a little picture of various other people who he knows. Like, there's not a massive circle of people he knows at this point. He's only just literally started going to school in September. And they were fucking shit. I mean, they were really... Look, the fucking heads were 3 times bigger than the people's bodies. Rory Katz looked like he was some sort of weird, I don't even know, a tiny pony or something. It was so rubbish. Like, the one eye would be massive and the other eye would be tiny. It was fucking dreadful. But apparently, if you point that out, you're being rude and you get asked to fucking leave. So you don't. You hold it back. And you think to yourself, how is he going to improve? How is he going to improve as an artist if he's not prepared to take honest, artistic criticism? This is the problem these days. Everyone's far too nice to people, and nothing gets better. Okay? It was fucking rubbish, right? And before anyone pipes in with his, maybe he was going for an expressionist type of art. No, nonsense, okay? It was one single colour, right? One single colour. There wasn't the coloration you would expect with a piece of expressionism. No. Or a piece of cubism or something. No. One colour in biro pen on the back of an envelope. It was fucking dreadful. But I'm not allowed to say that, otherwise I'm ruining everyone's afternoon. Disgraceful. It's political correctness gone mad. I'm only joking. I mean, to be fair, it was shit, because all children's art is shit. You have to pretend though, don't you? They bring home a piece of macaroni art and you think, that looks dreadful. What the fuck is this? Get this out of my face. But you have to say, that's amazing. Yeah, we'll put that on the fridge. Beautiful. Fuck's sake. Anyway, but it was very, very cute. So yeah, that's how I spent my afternoon. It was very cute and all the rest of it. And it put me in a festive mood. I'm in a jolly mood. But the problem is, that isn't going to last, because the people we're talking about on tonight's show, we've got a couple of bits for you, and I mean they're in the title, right? Tucker Carlson and Jimmy Dore. Now, I'm going to try desperately to remain as calm, as level-headed, as not shouty as possible. Like I say, I'm going to try and do that. I am certain that it will not be 100% successful. I'm absolutely fucking certain I will at times be quite animated about the situation, because these two people, or more precisely, the response of leftists to these two people is absolutely... How do I put this? I'm trying to be as delicate as possible, because I get the sense this might be an audience refining stream in some respects. And that's fine. I'm never going to worry about losing subs or anything. But I don't want to piss people off unnecessarily. Or be accused of, like, oh, you're infighting. It's all bollocks anyway. Some leftists' response to Tucker Carlson especially, but also to Jimmy Dore, is fucking infuriating, okay? Really genuinely quite upsetting in some respects. Because you get people who you think are really cool, and then they'll tweet out a Tucker thing like, this is based. Now, the reason I put based in quotation marks, both when I just said it and in the title to this, is because I don't use phrases like based or poggers or anything like that, okay? Because I'm a 33-year-old man. I'm not a kid. I'm not going to use those kind of phrases. I think they're fucking stupid. Whatever. But I understand that the young people on the internets... Have you seen that newfangled internet they've got now? It's crazy. The young people use those kind of phrases. And I saw many people putting around the clip of Tucker Carlson saying he was based. Anyway, and it's to say it's annoying is rather an understatement. It's fucking infuriating. Anyway, so we'll get into that in a second. We've got Tucker Carlson, then we've got Jimmy Dore, and then if I'm feeling up for it, I've also got a conspiracy corner, which should be fun. It's a COVID denier. It's a COVID vaccine lunatic. But if I'm not in the mood for that later, then we can also kick that to next week, because it's not really that. It's not going anywhere. It's a thing. Anyway. So, Tucker Carlson. He is a Fox News TV personality. He's a fucking fascist. Just going to put that straight out there. I know the thumbnail is meant to be a bit jokey. I put a Hitler tash on him. It's a bit Route 1, but it works, right? The guy's a fucking fascist. It was found that secretly, although probably not that secretly to Tucker Carlson, one of his lead writers was a Nazi. A genuine, look, out and out 1488 neo-Nazi internet merchant. For ages. Didn't seem to bother him really all that much that was the case. Didn't really change any of the rhetoric after that Nazi left. So basically he replaced a Nazi with a Nazi. Just one with plausible deniability. Or at least vaguely plausible deniability. He's garbage. But the thing is, Tucker Carlson does this thing that a great many right-wing shitbags do. That being that they try and play the populist card. Now, what is right-wing populism? It's basically fascism, is what it is. Okay, this is nothing new. They try and tap into anti-corporate, anti-capitalist messaging in order to fool people on the left who are also simple-minded. And unfortunately it works all too regularly, as we've seen on the internet. I saw people posting out this particular video, which we're about to watch. It's only 28 seconds, but it's indicative of the kind of thing that Tucker Carlson will occasionally say. He'll occasionally essentially do the corporations are bad bit, and leftists seem to think that makes him like a potential ally, which it fucking doesn't. Anyhow, the thing he actually says in this is largely true, but it's dishonest, because he doesn't actually believe this. Anyway, let's take a look at the actual clip itself, and we'll see.
Here's another idea. Why not make the people who benefited the most from the lockdowns, the people who've encouraged them from day one, pay for the effects of those lockdowns? Why wouldn't you assess, I don't know, Amazon and Apple and Goldman Sachs and Google and Netflix and Walmart, all the big winners in this pandemic? Why wouldn't you assess them a one-time COVID fee, take it out of their record profits, and make them pay for the next bailout?
No, that's largely true. I have a couple of issues with the actual thing, though, before we move on to the broader topic at hand. Firstly, why not do that with the tax system in general anyway? Like, genuinely, why only do it for the people who benefit from the COVID lockdowns most, and not for that in general? Why not tax the richest hugely much more, because they earn hugely much more money under the current structure as it is? Why is it just a COVID related thing? Because I don't know if you know this, but rich people haven't paid this little tax since the days of fucking feudalism. It's a joke. Our corporate overlords pay fuck all in tax. The UK government had to desperately beg Amazon for 3% fucking tax a couple of years ago. It's a joke. So it's not just a COVID fucking thing at all. Secondly, why is it a one-off payment exactly? Why are you asking for a one-off payment in that regard from record profits? Because surely capitalism's so fantastic and endless growth is obviously possible that it'll always be record profits. Unless you know your system is fucking full of shit. But whatever. God damn it. Now, beside those general points, I was feeling jolly. I said it wouldn't last though, so what can I do? The real world always intervenes on one's enjoyment of it. Anyway. Beside those points about Tucker Carlson's piece there, generally speaking, I think he's on to a very good point there. That those who have the most to be able to pay should. I think that's a generally good idea. And I saw people tweeting this out with, this is based, this is better than blah de blah, this is better than Bernie Sanders, better than AOC, better than Jeremy Corbyn, so on and so forth. That's not fucking true. Do you think he's telling the truth, or do you think he's a grifting, lying piece of shit? Because I put it to you, dear viewer, all 7 billion of you who are potentially watching from around the world, why is it that if Tucker Carlson believes that the rich should pay more tax because they're the ones that benefit, why is it he's never ever supported a candidate who would raise taxes? Why is it he consistently supports candidates who lower taxes? Why is it that he bathed Donald Trump's anus with his tongue over the fact that he gave a massive tax cut which went predominantly to the very richest in the world? Why is that? Is that just a spooky coincidence? Or is he fucking playing you? This man is not an ally. This person is not in any way interested in any kind of economic justice. He's playing the, let's say, pretend class warrior. Okay? Because be under no mistake, this is a fucking trust fund kid. This has been a rich kid his entire fucking life. He's a rich motherfucker now. And he's, of course, a massive corporatist. Who would have thunk it? These were clips from 2010. But he has, when they resurfaced a couple of years ago, he stuck by them. So we'll have a look. Where he literally refers to himself as Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson refers to himself as Rupert Murdoch's bitch.
Example, Sean Hannity was set to broadcast live from a Tea Party. And Rupert Murdoch the day before said, no, we don't support the Tea Party, we don't support the Republican Party, we don't support any party. And Rupert Murdoch did pull Hannity off of broadcasting live from the Tea Party.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit more complicated than that. But
based is like, it just means like good, or like having good politics or whatever.
It was, I think it was a miscommunication. But look, I mean, you can go to the Tea Party events. I've been to a lot of Tea Party events. I spoke at a Tea Party event. And I wasn't, I'm not running as a Tea Party candidate. I'm not giving money to Tea Party people. I just, it's a great place to reach people,
Sure, but what I'm saying is at that point, Rupert Murdoch didn't want Hannity broadcasting from there.
Yeah, well, something happened, no doubt about that. I don't know if was it Murdoch?
Yeah, it was because Murdoch received the question. They said, "Hey, you guys, Fox News, are part of
Murdoch's the most powerful man in America."
I mean, Rupert Murdoch, I've got to give him credit. When you talk about media conglomerates, he really knows what he's doing.
Yes,
he is smart.
He's very smart,
really smart, and tough.
You're his bitch.
I'm 100% his bitch. Whatever Mr. Murdoch says, I do.
Exactly.
Do I need to say any more? He's Rupert Murdoch's bitch. He is. He's absolutely Rupert Murdoch's bitch. And like I say, he stood by that. He stood by that. He stood by being the biggest, being the bitch of the biggest neoliberal, corporatist, multi-billionaire, media conglomerate, globalist. Although in this case I mean it in a sarcastic sense, because Rupert Murdoch isn't like anything particularly special in that regard. He's certainly not Jewish, so he doesn't really play into the conspiracy theories. Like, you'll know, they'll go after George Soros, not so much after Rupert Murdoch, because Rupert Murdoch's a right-wing cunt too. So they're happy with that. That's just fucking dandy. Anyway. So, yeah, he's Rupert Murdoch's bitch, okay? So the idea that this motherfucker can be an ally in our fight against corporate hegemony is just fucking farcical. Absolutely farcical. And of course, it goes even beyond that, because whilst it is, I mean, it's certainly possible to work with certain people on certain things. For instance, Bernie Sanders worked with which one was it? It's either the dad, it's either Rand Paul or Ron Paul. It's either the dad or the son. I can't remember, because but basically, Bernie Sanders has been in the Senate so long, it could have been the fucking granddad he worked with when Bernie Sanders was but a mere middle-aged man. Anyway, he worked with one of them on trying to end government surveillance, or like wiretapping or something. So there are issues you can work with people you don't like on. But firstly, they have to actually believe that thing, which Tucker Carlson clearly doesn't. Like I say, he had plenty of opportunities to back and taxing the rich candidates, and never has. He's also, he could have supported, or not supported, candidates who wanted to give massive tax cuts to the rich. He's not based. He's fucking fascist garbage. This isn't new, right? I mean, I'm calling him a fascist, so I don't even know if this is breaking Godwin's law, but whatever. Nazi, anti-capitalist propaganda. Where's the... There we go, right. Now, it's playing into the Jewish thing, because it's got a Jewish star on it and all the rest of it, but they've got several instances where they're having a go at the rich. Specifically, that's Soviet, that one. No, we want... Where the fuck? Where's the Nazi anti-capitalist thing? Where it's not strictly just because it's Jewish. You're the reason we lost the... Oh, God. Where are we? Anti-capitalismus, or whatever the fuck it was called. Why can't I find that particular image when I want it? That's very annoying. They're against black music, because it's Jewish, apparently? Okay. Where are we? Come on. Nazi anti-propaganda poster or something. Where are we? Am I missing the plot here, people? There we go. Right, so it's pro-worker, nationalist stuff. That's not even going to be on the screen, is it? I've just realised. Yeah, okay. Hang on. There we go. So it's like they can be You can have Nazi propaganda that's anti-capitalist. Now, that doesn't make them anti-capitalist. Okay? The Nazis did this in the time they were in power in Germany, and the fascists of today are doing exactly the same thing. They appropriate anti-capitalist talking points in order to gain support amongst the working class, and especially amongst people who are anti-capitalists. And then they surreptitiously sneak in dodgy shit as well, as we're about to see here, because the following day after the clip you just saw of Tucker Carlson going on about taxing the rich, he surreptitiously gets in this bit about George Soros.
George Soros understands that. Soros has an eye for vulnerabilities. He became extraordinarily rich by finding ways to exploit the weaknesses in systems that he did not himself build. In the early 1990s, Soros became a billionaire by shorting the British pound, crushing the Bank of England in the process.
Not crushing the Bank of England. It was a dark economic time, but the Bank of England's still going. So, I mean, that's a bit of hyperbole. But yeah, he did. And this is why we should hate George Soros. It's because George Soros has gotten rich at everyone else's expense. He's garbage. Why did that noise happen? A noise happened. Oh no, it's that. Fuck off. Anyway. It was the noise telling me my thing was recharged. Anyway. Concentrate. George Soros has gotten rich off fucking over the economies of everyone else, okay? He is the ultimate vulture capitalist. He's a piece of trash. That's why we should hate George Soros. Not because he's the head of the Jewish Illuminati, fucking moon Jew, vampire Satanists who are drinking baby's blood, which is the shit that you see out on the internet about him, okay? Which is why I do the joke about, George Soros, praise be upon him, and all of that. And I've got an image that I've used a few times on this channel of George Soros, where I've replaced his head onto the head of Jesus with the flaming heart thing and all of that. It's yeah. Anyway, so there are perfectly legitimate reasons to hate George Soros, and he plays upon this, right? Tucker Carlson plays upon this. Tucker Carlson will say, "Oh, these greedy capitalist bastards." Blah, 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 whilst not actually wanting anything to happen to the greedy capitalist bastards, because he's also a greedy capitalist bastard, in case you didn't realise that. And apparently some on the left haven't realised that, which is irksome. So, you don't want... so he'll say, like, oh, the rich fuckers, and then slip in, oh, and George Soros, he's funding the Antifas. And the sentence that Tucker Carlson says here, which is quoted above, if you're wondering why so many Americans are being robbed, raped and killed in American cities right now, George Soros is a part of the reason for that. He's literally pushing weird-ass anti-Semitic fucking blood libel shit. This is like some straight-up fucking Nazi propaganda. You want us to fucking ally with this cunt because he'll occasionally say corporations are shit. Yeah, no fucking, that's not some big revelation. Everyone knows corporations are shit. Right-wingers just love corporations. That's the only difference. Tucker Carlson loves corporations. He works for fucking Rupert Murdoch. He's Rupert Murdoch's bitch. You just heard him say it in his own fucking voice. This is madness. This is neo-Nazi propaganda being pumped out by this gobshite. And some fucking idiots on the left, and I'm sorry, there are some fucking idiots, will say, nah, he's based though, because he said corporations are bad. Whereas AOC's a sellout. We'll get onto you later. Fucking dipshit Dore. Anyway.
He went on to repeat those tactics in other financial crises in countries around the world. And then George Soros turned his attention to the United States, where he decided he would fundamentally change our society.
Again, fundamentally change our society. These sneaky outsiders, these greedy, grasping, sneaky outsiders coming in and without anyone realising they're trying to fundamentally change all of us. This is Nazi propaganda. This is absolutely the same Nazi propaganda that we saw from the fucking cunts in the 30s. It's absolute... I'm going to stop saying the C word. I promised myself I'd stop saying it, but anyway, apologies. To any Americans watching, it's used differently here. Anyway, doesn't matter. We saw the Nazis using it in the 1930s. And before that. And ever since, frankly. But and Tucker Carlson's doing exactly the same. He knows in his audience's mind, George Soros, Jew. George Soros, Jew. So George Soros earns his millions by impoverishing our poor white cousins in England, then turns his eyes to America and decides to fundamentally change it. He started like is it Media Matters or something anyway? The Southern Poverty Law Centre, right? They do a bit of research. They're not fundamentally changing anything. But Tucker Carlson will put out there, sneaky Jew, millionaire, got his money from robbing white people, has come to America and has unleashed the brown criminals on all of you. That's what he's doing here. It's no different to any other fucking Nazi propaganda. Again, if you want to ally yourself with Tucker Carlson, I'm sorry, not only are you not my ally, you're my fucking enemy. If you want to be a fascist enabler, you're not my fucking ally, you are my enemy.
Soros began funding politicians and political initiatives that had very little popular support. But because so few were paying attention to what he was doing, he often got his way. On those rare occasions when Soros was criticized for doing this, for subverting our democracy, he and his allies in the news media screamed bigotry. He was yet another oppressed billionaire victim of discrimination.
Motherfucker, you know full well that that's a ridiculous straw man. Outside of maybe one or two absolute twats who think billionaire is a slur or something, or rich is a slur, and we need to call them people of means, no one thinks that George Soros is oppressed because he's a billionaire. People know that he's being attacked because A, he's Jewish, and B, he's a convenient scapegoat that the right have made. So whenever anything happens they don't like, Soros did it. Soros did it. Soros did it, which everyone knows is code for sneaky rich Jews. Sneaky rich Jews. Come on, Tucker. It's such an obviously nakedly grifty point. Fuck you.
And mostly that tactic works because it always works. So he kept doing it.
Also, didn't you just back Donald Trump for president, motherfucker? Corporatist piece of shit, gave massive tax cuts to the rich, including the people you were claiming you wanted to tax a second ago. And of course is, at least in theory, a billionaire himself. So, you're not that anti-billionaire, are you?
If you're wondering why so many people are being robbed, raped, and killed in American cities right now, George Soros is part of the reason for that. Soros has funded the campaigns of left-wing extremists in district attorney races all over the country, in cities like Philadelphia, St. Louis, Chicago, Boston.
You know, the places where black people live. Not so many in Boston, but there are a few. But the places where black people live, the sneaky Jew has come in and funded the DAs so that your black criminals can be let out to rape your white daughter. That's literally the fucking thing he's doing here. He's doing straight up neo-Nazi propaganda. But you'll fall for the fucking occasional moment he goes, Jeff Bezos should pay some tax, while literally not supporting any candidate who would actually tax Jeff Bezos. The critical thinking skills of some people, even some people on the left who you would think had more about them, yeah, maybe not so much. And as if you needed any further evidence that he's a racist piece of shit, there are also these clips that I found of him just being more nakedly racist, this time mostly against Iraqis. It was
Semi-literate primitive monkeys.
Because again,
Iraq is a crappy place filled with a bunch of...
for those people who were like, he's also anti-war. People did that with the Tulsi stands, fucking idiots. Who were like, she's anti-war, she's based. No, motherfucker, she's not really that anti-war anyway. She supports the BJP. Fucking Hindu nationalist scum that proliferate, unfortunately, in the government in India. She's a transphobic piece of garbage. No, she's not an ally either. And they do this with Tucker. Tucker will say, let's stop the forever wars. Forgetting, of course, that he originally backed the Iraq war when it started. Ooh, crazy, I know.
Iraq is a crappy place filled with a bunch of, semi-literate primitive monkeys.
Iraq is full of semi-literate primitive monkeys. Anyone on the left want to? Anyone on the left want to defend this motherfucker? I dare you.
But I just have zero sympathy for them or their culture, a culture where people just don't use toilet paper or forks.
And the way they treat women, I agree with you. Their culture is, but you're in their homeland, and you're over there as an American who they hate, and they want nothing more than the Americans off of their soil. So they're not going to play games.
They can just shut the fuck up and obey, is my view.
How could you?
The Iraqis can just shut the fuck up and obey. Genuinely, how anyone on the left can be okay with this man, I don't know.
Salvage Iraq at this point?
I don't, it's beyond our control. I mean, if somehow the Iraqis decided to behave like human beings or something.
If Iraqis decided to behave like human beings. Any leftist who dares defend this piece of garbage, this awful piece of shit, is not a friend of mine. They are an enemy. You're not an ally. You're not a leftist. You're garbage. Which brings us to, of course, Jimmy Dore. Jimmy Dore has been on Tucker Carlson's show many times. Let's see if I can find a clip of that quickly. Jimmy Dore, Tucker Carlson. Jimmy Dore is, at least in theory, a leftist who does nothing but attack the left and virtually never attack the right, it seems. Anyway, he used to be with the Young Turks, but now he does a show on YouTube called the Jimmy Dore Show. Not enormously surprising name, and he's the archetypal burnout, as I've come to call him. That's the burn with an E, because they were former Bernie supporters who have now turned on Bernie, of course, because they don't fundamentally understand how politics fucking works, and are so embittered and disillusioned by the fact that Bernie didn't win that all they ever do is attack, say, the Democratic Party or anyone vaguely trying to get anything done, whilst completely not exonerating, but just ignoring the fact that the right are literally trying to do a fascist coup and stuff. All of that, right? That kind of person, Jimmy Dore is the perfect example of that. He now refers to Bernie as a cuck. But anyway, it's a wonder. It's genuinely, I don't know how he got an audience that's so right wing. Jimmy Dore, if you go into his into his comment section, it's filled with some of the worst right wing scum outside of maybe, I don't know, the Daily Stormer or something like that, right? Really awful. And it's surprising that he goes on to Tucker Carlson and fucking deep throats him. Right, deep throats Tucker Carlson, works the shaft, doesn't forget the balls, right? Full on fucking working of Tucker Carlson, and then ends up with a massively right-wing audience. It's shocking, that. It's a mystery, isn't it? It's a riddle for the ages how that happened.
We still don't have the full numbers from the Iowa caucus, but the results so far, the ones we've been given, indicate a narrow lead for Pete Buttigieg, who was once a mayor of a minor city in the Midwest. A big win for the little guys, actually. Democratic insiders in the press have made it clear they'll do almost anything to deny Sanders the nomination. Jimmy Dore is one of the very rare independent thinkers on the internet, one of the last left. He's got a podcast. He's a comedian. We're happy to have him join us tonight. Jimmy, thanks so much for coming on.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. Work the shaft, Jim. Work the fucking shaft. Right?
I'm not a conspiracy guy. I don't think I'm paranoid, but just looking at the accumulation of facts, which grows larger every day, I'm starting to think there's a real effort, not in public, but behind the scenes, to prevent Bernie Sanders from getting the nomination by the Democratic establishment. Am I imagining that?
You are not imagining that. No, you know what, Tucker, when I look at what's happening in the Democratic primary, and
so that gives you an indication as to how he feels and reacts to Tucker Carlson, okay? It doesn't really matter about this. I mean, they're both conspiracy reactionary nutcases. But I just wanted you to get a feel there for the friendliness of the interaction between him and Tucker Carlson. We just saw Tucker Carlson referring to Iraqis as semi-literate monkeys and not acting like human beings. We saw him doing weird Nazi blood libel bullshit about George Soros. But he's fine. But Jimmy Dore, absolutely fine with that. You're right, Tucker Carlson. You're right, mate. How are you? Fucking pleasure to be here. Can I drink your piss, please? I'm bigging it up a little bit, but you get the idea, right? Anyway, so that's the basic level of interaction that Jimmy Dore has with Tucker Carlson. And I want you
representatives meeting
juxtapose that with the way he treats Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman from the great state of New York, who is, of course, one of the progressives, one of probably the most left-wing people to have entered that building for a very long time. He got into something of a spat with AOC recently. Jimmy Dore's got this really, frankly, silly idea. Although, on the face of it, I'll get into my particular feelings about healthcare and all the rest of it in a second. But he's got this idea. Jimmy Dore's got his idea. It's a vainglorious thing for a start off, right? He wants to be the centre of attention. It's a joke. Jimmy Dore wants to put himself at the absolute centre of things, even though he's just an internet prick. Like me. He's a bigger internet prick, but just an internet prick. He has challenged the Progressive Caucus, of which Miss Ocasio-Cortez is one member. And it's not a particularly big caucus either, because the Democrats are unfortunately rather filled with centrists and corporatists and things. As indeed are every political party in America. Well, the two of them, whatever. So, he challenged the Progressive Caucus. He said, because of the narrow lead they hold in the Congress, when it comes round to re-electing Nancy Pelosi as the Speaker of the House of Representatives, that they should threaten to withhold their vote in order that they get a floor vote on the Medicare for All bill, which has been proposed before and hasn't come to a vote yet. It's essentially just sat there in limbo. So, that's his plan, right? They're gonna try and force a concession out of Nancy Pelosi to get those votes so that she becomes Speaker and they get a vote on Medicare for All. Now, my position, I'll just outline my position. I generally am in favour of healthcare, of Medicare for All. When I say generally, I mean because there are other ways in which it's more complicated than just Medicare for All or nothing, okay? There are many more ways in which universal healthcare can be achieved, okay? There are many more ways in which fundamentally universal healthcare can be installed. It doesn't have to be Medicare for All. There are loads of different ways it's done. It's done differently in Germany and in Canada and here in the UK and around the world, okay? So it doesn't have to be Medicare for All. But, understandably, given that Medicare on its own is a much more understood and liked, fondly admired part of American national infrastructure, it's understandable that its expansion to cover all people would be much more likely to succeed than a completely radically new system, because people are very, very worried. As we saw during the debates around the ACA, the Obamacare, it's very difficult to sell Americans on a new healthcare system. So the expanding of an already existing thing, which people know generally works, like people who've interacted with, like, it's generally older people that qualify for Medicare, I believe, and Medicaid is a thing. It's a bit more, it's complex, and I don't understand it completely, right? People know that works. They've seen that it works. They've seen that it can take away the financial destruction that ill health can cause, and it really is a fucking disgraceful state of affairs, a genuinely barbaric state of affairs, that in America there are people that just die of relatively easily treatable diseases and accidents and stuff because of want of money. That's not really a proper civilization, as far as I'm concerned. If you have the opportunity, or the capacity to treat these people, and you don't because they're not rich enough, that's really unbelievably fucked up. That's a really disgusting state of affairs. And not just that, beyond even the morbid aspect of it, the fact that millions, and indeed tens of millions of Americans live in pain, a lot of pain, because of injuries and illnesses which, whilst very, very painful, aren't completely debilitating. So they can still get on with their life. They've just got like a bad back, or a bad hip, or like a urinary disease or something, right? Which doesn't stop them from existing, doesn't stop them going to work and all the rest of it. But they live in pain, and it drastically reduces their quality of life. But it would cost them too much money to go to the doctor or the hospital to have it fixed with either, medicines or surgery or therapeutics or whatever. That they don't. That they just live with it. And therefore the overall standard of quality of life in America is vastly reduced because of it. Now, that would be sick in a genuinely disgusting way in any country. But not only is America the richest country in the earth right now, America right now is the richest time and place in the history of the world. It is the richest nation that has ever existed. And yet you have tens of millions of your countrymen, women and non-binary folk who have none or insufficient healthcare for want of money. That's not acceptable. That's not fucking acceptable. That has to change. Okay? So I get where people like Jimmy are coming from in wanting to push that agenda. That's fine. Okay? What's not fine is grandstanding bullshit which doesn't get people anywhere. Okay? That's the problem I have. And it's, unfortunately, I'll sound like a broken record during this because Jimmy keeps repeating himself. I will keep repeating myself. What Jimmy proposes here won't get people healthcare. That's the problem. Okay? So I think I've made my position pretty clear. I would love to see healthcare passed in America. But we'll get into the specifics in a second as to why that isn't likely at the moment.
Okay, I want to show you this. This is about how we can get a Medicare for all vote on the floor of the House. I'm going to show you because right now, people who have lost their health care during this pandemic, 0 people in all these countries. 0.
That's Ro Khanna, who is another member of the Progressive Caucus in the House.
0 people in Great Britain and Canada and Finland and Sweden and France. 0 people. America, 14.6 million people have no health care now than did before March.
Yeah, that's on top of those who were already... Yeah, that's fucking sick. It's sick. All of these countries are vastly, vastly less wealthy. That's not to say poor. Britain's a very rich country. Germany's a rich country. In fact, most of those countries are pretty damn rich. Greece, it's had its problems. But even so, pretty wealthy places. Pretty numerously populated in case of like Japan and Britain and Germany. And those numbers absolutely bear out. And it's barbaric. Yeah, it's barbaric. Anyway.
14.6 million people have lost their health care. That's like if the entire city of Los Angeles and Chicago lost their health care at once.
Yeah.
And then some.
Actually, probably more.
Yeah.
That's like anyway. So I told Ro Khanna, hey, I told everybody, please pressure Ro Khanna and all progressives in Congress to withhold their vote for Nancy Pelosi as Speaker unless she agrees to bring Medicare for all up for a vote. It will take around 8 to 15 progressives, maybe even less, to pull this off. This is your leverage. Please use it. Force a Medicare for all vote.
Now, this is where we get to the crux of our disagreement. What Jimmy Dore is proposing here, on the face of it, seems like a good idea. Every group of people, especially in a very tight Congress, right, which the next one, the 117th, as it turns out, will be, every vote really does have weight. Because getting stuff through or even just voting on positions, will become incredibly tight votes all the time. Virtually every vote will be tight, or every contested vote will be tight. There'll be loads that just pass through regardless, because there's bipartisan agreement or whatever. But in terms of it will be contested. You've got either Nancy Pelosi or Kevin McCarthy, the Republican, will become Speaker. And so on the face of it, this could be done. I've no doubt that this could be done. His plan would actually work. If they said, we're not going to vote for you unless you give us a floor vote on Medicare for all, I would be surprised if they couldn't pull that off. The problem is, you have to look at the pros and cons of actually fucking doing that. And I don't see many pros, frankly. I see lots of cons, though. You have to use what political capital you have effectively as possible. Okay? The Progressive Caucus has gotten bigger in recent times, and that's a really great thing. We've seen the rise of people up the squad, right, AOC and all the rest of it, but there are people whose names you probably haven't heard of as well, especially the newly incoming folk who make up that caucus, and they do have a lot of power in this very tight Congress. But they have to use that effectively, okay? Bringing up a Medicare for All bill right now is performative, grandstanding, and ultimately virtue signalling. That's all this is. I don't like the phrase virtue signalling because I think it's largely bullshit, but that's precisely what this is. This is theatrics. This is smoke and mirrors bullshit, okay? Because there is not a single chance in fucking hell that gets through the Congress. There's no chance it gets through the House of Representatives on its own. It won't. Because there are loads of blue dog Democrats who narrowly squeaked by in the recent elections and stuff, and know they're all the ones that are up for re-election in 2022, who are in tight districts, who don't want their name associated with that because it's seen as socialism. It's fucking nonsense. Basically, it all boils down to the fact that the American people are fucking uninformed or misinformed dupes. Okay? It's dupe with a P, not Jews. Dupes. Whew. So, there's no chance it gets through the House of Representatives, okay? Not a fucking chance. But even if, by some miracle, let's say all of the Republicans go down ill that day, and none of them are there, literally not a single GOP representative is there that day, and it somehow passes through the the House of Representatives, it'll then go to the House is up for re-election every 2 years. Yes, indeed. I know. Yeah. Did not say that correctly. Yeah, the people who've just gotten through and people who were up for re-election. I think I said that, didn't I? Anyway. Even if it somehow does, even in that miraculous situation, it goes through the House of Representatives, you're going to end up with Mitch McConnell in the Senate, who won't ever let it go anywhere near a vote. There's not a chance. There's not a fucking chance in hell it goes through the Senate, because it won't even reach the floor of the Senate. It will sit gathering dust, as 1,000,001 other bills have on Mitch McConnell's desk, or more precisely, will be fed into Mitch McConnell's shredder and forgotten about forever. It's not going anywhere. Having this up for a vote on the floor of the House will achieve nothing. It will not get a single person healthcare. It won't do anything positive. Okay? What it will do, however, unfortunately, is forever damage the Progressive Caucus by making it look like they're holding the Nancy Pelosi hostage. Now, don't get me wrong, Nancy Pelosi's shit. She shouldn't be the Speaker anymore. As with Joe Biden being the President, you need younger blood coming through. The Democratic Party is strangling itself to death by literally just having 70-year-old fucking centrist duffers. It's very simple. If anything showed that conclusively, it was fucking Dianne Feinstein hugging Lindsey Graham. She comes from California. If you're sending that from one of the most liberal places in the country, if you're sending that kind of senator to the Congress, Something very badly wrong is going on. We need some fresh blood there. Anyway, if you're seen to be holding the party leadership hostage for no good reason, you've wasted your political capital, you have poisoned your image amongst Democratic voters, especially if this doesn't actually pan out very well, and say she calls her their bluff and Kevin McCarthy becomes the speaker, the Democratic leadership and the Democratic voters will fucking despise the Progressive Caucus. Okay? And it's not like AOC's been there that long that she knows all the ropes. She's been there 2 fucking years. She's a relatively minor political figure. In fact, it's only really the hatred of the right that has led to the situation where she's actually famous, really. It's genuinely true. If you look at her her name recognition and face recognition amongst Democratic and Republican voters, it's much higher amongst Republicans, because the right have demonised her as this horrible Latina woman who's like a piece of shit. That's, so they hate her. Whereas most Democrats probably don't even know who she is, really, or have vaguely heard of her or something. They know her as AOC, but probably couldn't tell you what those letters stand for or something, Anyway, so let's say Jimmy Dore's plan goes into effect. You've destroyed any political capital you had on a vainglorious bid that gets no one any fucking healthcare. You have destroyed goodwill with the leadership. You have reinforced people's impression that you're not really a part of the Democratic Party and that you're just an outside interloper trying to destroy things, which, even if that's true, you have to be a bit more fucking surreptitious with it, or a bit more under the radar, let's say, if you want to infiltrate a party in that way. And it will actually set back the passage of any such bill in the future, because this bill would lose so embarrassingly badly. Look, it wouldn't be tight. It's not like Nancy Pelosi's going to whip her members, or, well, it's Clyburn's the whip, isn't it? It's not as if the Democratic whips are going to whip their members to vote for this bill. Many of them wouldn't. It would almost certainly be some sort of free vote, and many of them won't vote for this. They'll either abstain or actively vote against it. And all of the Republicans, to a fucking man, woman, well, not a child, because there are only children there, but every single member of the GOP will vote against it, so it will lose really fucking badly. So that in the future, even when you have, let's say, the Progressive Caucus doubles in 2 years or 4 years or whatever, right, and they have a genuine force within that party, they'll go, can we have a Medicare for All bill? Vote again, please? And they'll say, you lost really, embarrassingly last time. Look, you got a quarter of the fucking Congress to vote for it. Or 10% or whatever, right? No, you fucking can't. We're not going to waste our time on bullshit like this. You lost really fucking badly. It will completely undermine the concept that bill could get through. There's such a thing as keeping your powder dry, which is an old phrase which is involved in musket firing and things. But anyway, the idea that there are some times, like when it's raining, where firing a gun isn't really practical, or in this case, using your political capital to this end is not a profitable thing to be doing. When I say profitable, I mean politically profitable, not money-wise. So it might be worth just chilling the fuck out and using the political capital you have now for some decent purpose other than that. Like, again, getting some experience. Like, for instance, it might sound silly, and Jimmy Dore brings this up later, I think, of committee members, getting some progressive people onto these committees, because it gives them experience, it allows them to make contacts, they understand the ropes and how to get things done much more effectively, and they get their name known. They become more high profile, they become more firmly entrenched in the minds of the people as good political operatives. You can start to make those impacts. You can start to lay down those roots of progressivism within the Democratic Party and within Washington itself. That would be, I think, a far more reasonable strategy than this, which will achieve nothing. I defy any motherfucker to tell me that this vote has any chance of actually succeeding. I swear to God, any motherfucker. You can come on now. I'll set up a Zoom call with you. If you want to come on and argue that this vote would actually fucking make its way through the Congress, I'm happy to hear that argument, because that is bullshit. Very easy bullshit to tear down as well. Okay? Anyway, so yeah, what was the noise for? Oh, that was the subscribe. Oh, thank you. Hello for the new follower on Twitch. By the way, yeah, I forgot to fucking... I'm terrible at shilling. Unlike Jimmy Dore and Tucker Carlson, unfortunately. But anyway, if you want to give me money and make that noise, and you get a celebration gritty and all the rest of it, you can get your super chats in at what was the fucking link again? I've totally lost the link. Streamlabs.com/KFLogan1875. It's in the description box of the YouTube video if you want to. That's streamlabs.com/KFLogan1875. And you can send me a message. It will confuse and befuddle me for several seconds. I will fumble around like a boomer idiot, which will be fun for everyone to watch. And I'll read out whatever message you write, assuming it's not some weird Nazi shit or something. Anyway. So yes, that's a thing. Anyway, so yes, having dealt with the idea that Jimmy's idea is worthwhile, which it fucking isn't because it has no political efficacy. It won't be effective in getting anyone healthcare. Because Jimmy makes this point: you should try and get people healthcare. You get people healthcare. This won't get people healthcare. It won't. It has no chance of that. So, we have to try another strategy. Trying something you know won't work isn't worthwhile. Why not try something which, whilst it may take longer, it may be still a long shot, it may be something that doesn't come to pass for another generation or two, who knows, but at least has a chance of succeeding. This is nonsense.
So you know this, right? And let me just say to Ro Khanna, I mean, I love cool flags. I really do love cool flags. And as much as we love the tweets with all the cool flags in it, you actually doing something to get this moving forward would be even better. You can skip this. You can even skip the tweet. Just tell Nancy Pelosi you're not going to vote for her unless she brings it up for a vote. That's all you have to do. You don't even have to fucking tweet about it.
Notice the vitriol, the slight hint of anger and sneering at Ro Khanna, who is a progressive trying to advance things and putting out generally positive messages about the world, compared to his having fucking tongue massaged every crease, crevice and flap of Tucker Carlson's nutsack. Notice, juxtapose those two interactions. How he treats fash fucking piece of shit Tucker Carlson, and how he talks about Ro Khanna and AOC and Ayanna Pressley and all of those people. If you treat fash like friends and progressives like enemies, it's not exactly that surprising that you end up with a fash following. Jimmy. Just saying, brah.
Bro, don't even have to do it. Here is the co-chair,
By the way,
Matt Pocan. He was at...
Also, before we even fucking get any nonsense about people misquoting or misinterpreting that, I'm not saying everyone who likes Jimmy Dore is a fascist. Not at all. I'm sure there are lots of misguided progressives who think that his occasional rant about stuff like this means he's a progressive, when, like I say, if all you ever do is attack the left and let the right be and fucking give Tucker Carlson a fucking rusty trombone, I mean, you can almost see the fucking crusty arse scrapings from Tucker Carlson's anus on Jimmy's tongue. You know, like that. That's a pretty telling thing for me. It's alright. Look at the fucking hatred in his face there. It's just mad.
Asked about this on the Tom Hartman show. So he gives a bullshit answer. You want to hear his bullshit answer? Okay, here we go.
15 votes doesn't even make sense.
He says 15 votes doesn't even make sense. Of course it does.
It does.
Why doesn't that make sense? Of course that makes sense. Okay, here we go.
15 votes doesn't even make sense. I don't know where that number comes from. It just shows me, again, someone who doesn't have maybe a great strategy going. Secondly...
That sounds to me like a guy who's scared to death of being revealed as a bullshitter and a transparent liar, which is why he's not running for co-chair of the caucus anymore, because guys like me found out who he is.
Yes, I'm sure the congressman gives a fuck what some internet prick called Jimmy Dore thinks. I'm sure he really fucking cares. Look, Jimmy, you got AOC to respond to one of your dumbass tweets. You're not an important person. Okay? I mean, I got fucking Patton Oswalt to retweet me once. That doesn't make me a fucking Hollywood star, you know?
Telling everybody who he is, and so now he's not going to run for co-chair of the caucus anymore.
Well, and I know earlier in the show you were talking about like gaslighting and lying and how they're close relatives and whatnot. And what he's doing here, this is the example of the gaslighting part.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the gaslighting. Well, I don't know where that 15. Yeah, you do. You know where that number came from.
He knows.
You know, it's the difference between Democrats and Republicans. So basically, the point of it is.
Is it? Are we sure?
If Pelosi feels like she's not going to win unless she gives people what they want, a vote on Medicare for all, she'll be like, okay, we'll get a vote on Medicare for all, now vote for me.
And nobody's buying this. I wonder if even the fucking viewers of Tom Hartman's show bought
I
this.
don't even know that other guy who was talking. Doesn't really matter.
They probably did, but maybe they didn't.
15 votes doesn't even make sense. I don't know where that number comes from. It's
because that's the Democrats' majority in the House, Mark.
No, it isn't. We'll go on to it. Where was it? The likely majority of only 4 seats, and that number will actually shrink to 2 because Representative Cedric Richmond, D. not Los Angeles, Louisiana, and Marcia Fudge, D. Ohio, are going to be taking positions in the Biden administration, and thus there will be votes on their now or soon to be vacant seats. So yeah, not 15 at all. That's not the difference between the two parties. You're full of shit. And again, look at the hatred. It's not just the occasional freeze frame. He's got such vitriol. Don't forget the bull. Don't forget Tucker Carlson's balls. Just a quick note for you there, Jimmo.
You don't know that? Then you're not even fit to host a YouTube show.
Yes, you're not fit to host a YouTube show, Jimmy, because you didn't know that. You thought it was 15. It's fucking 4.
15 votes doesn't even make sense. I don't know where that number comes from. It just shows me, again, someone who doesn't have maybe a great strategy going. Secondly, if we bring Medicare to all for the floor, it will lose. There are not enough supporters when you have a 4 or 5 seat margin, so we have some more work to do.
So he just said they have a 4 or 5 seat margin. I was saying they have a 15 seat margin. So what he's actually saying is it's easier to do.
Yeah, it's easier to do. But Jimmy, let's go back to the previous sentence you just said, where you said it was 15, and the fact that he didn't know that means he's not even fit to host a YouTube show. You didn't know it. You were wrong, and he was right. You're not fit to host a YouTube show. Yeah. Finally, we agree on something.
It's easier to do. You don't need 15 people. He's saying you need 4 or 5 people. That's all you need to force Nancy Pelosi to do something progressive? Why wouldn't you do that? Because he's not there to actually force Nancy.
Jimmy Dore takes on progressives because their corrupt Dems are corrupt. You're totally wrong. Pommy Ponce. Well, thank you. I presume you're Australian, so that's nice. Please do tell me why he was tonguing Tucker Carlson's arsehole then. If he's so much the better progressive, he's much more socialist, why is he rimming Tucker Carlson on the regular? Tell me that. Please. Please do tell me that. That would be fascinating for me to hear. How exactly him fondling the bollocks of Tucker Carlson on the regular is aiding socialism in America exactly? Please do tell me.
Pelosi to do anything progressive. He's there to pretend he is. He's there to run on Medicare for all. He's there to do virtue signaling. He's there to do identity politics. And when it comes time to actually doing something, he's going to lie to you about it, which is what he's doing right now.
I'm not here to defend Mark Polk, and I don't even know who the fuck he is.
Get public opinion.
Okay, I want to just say, do you want to know what his solution is? Listen to what his solution is. This is what now remember, public opinion is 90%.
Are they going to let him talk? What the fuck, man? Stop interrupting every 5 seconds.
Of Democrats are for this. The majority of Republicans are for this. 70% of Americans overall are for this. And listen to what he says, what we have to do to make sure we get this vote. Ready?
By the way, I've looked into some of the numbers, and whilst the headline number is 70%, whenever you look into it, if you actually break down what Medicare for All entails, its socialisms bit starts to bleed into it, and the numbers drop. If you just ask generic questions like, "Do you support, healthcare for all or whatever?" people generally, you can get up to 70%, and that's fine. But ultimately, in terms of the plan you have, not Tucker, sorry, I mixed you up with your ideological blood brother. No, Jimmy. Your plan, it's sort of irrelevant as to whether the public want a thing, because you're literally saying the Congress, what should the Congress do? Therefore, the only votes that matter in that instance are the Congress, and they won't vote for it. And that's not surprising, because the Congress doesn't generally represent the people very well. That's how the system with gerrymandering and all sorts goes, right? You've seen that with pretty reasonable gun regulations, for instance, where even higher than 70% will support a thing, and it never goes anywhere. So it's not massively surprising that the Congress doesn't represent the people. Of course it fucking doesn't.
Enough supporters when you have a 4 or 5 seat margin. So we have some more work to do to get public opinion. Public opinion is strong, but to get that public opinion making members of Congress do the right thing. But you still have Mitch McConnell in the Senate.
Public opinion making members of Congress do the right thing? What does that even mean, Ron?
Tuck that little nonsense away in your head, because later on he makes a very similar point himself. But he doesn't think, therefore, that public opinion making a person in Congress do a thing is like a sensible idea. That's nonsense to Jimmy. Just tuck that in your mind. We'll put a pin in it. We'll return to it later.
That means he stepped in his own bullshit. If you listen to it word for word, that's exactly what happened there. Because he realized, as he was saying it, well, we need to get public opinion. He realized he's seen those same statistics we've all seen, that 70% of the public wants Medicare for all. So he realized, oh, wait, they're not going to buy that. So then he had to backpedal, oh, well, public opinion to get Congress the right thing. That means absolutely nothing, but it sounds a little better than Congress doesn't give a fuck about public opinion, and I don't want to make my colleagues look bad when they vote against health care during a pandemic.
And no, they're only looking at the Democrats here. The Republicans, every single one of them would vote against this. But they, for some reason, are excused, even though they're also going against public opinion.
Okay. Got to make public... that doesn't make any sense. When you have got to make public opinion pressure them to do the right thing. That's what public opinion is.
It's a guy flailing. I mean, that's him flailing.
That's him flailing, yes.
Yep. What do you really get out of that? Right now, playing anything...
He said it'll probably... the vote won't pass, so what do you get out of that? Well, I can tell you... Well, Mark Pocan, since you don't know much about politics, I'll let a pothead comedian tell you what you get out of that. You get to be seen fighting for Medicare for all. You push the marker forward, so now we see who's all against it. Now they're on record as being against it. And
most are either on record being for or against it, even because they get asked by people. You could just look into that. I would imagine there are very few who aren't on record as either supporting or not supporting it. So again, if you wanted to use that as a way of primarying people in 2 years or 4 years or whatever, that information's already available. If you were prepared to look into it rather than just being a self-important, self-aggrandizing twat, which is what you are.
Then you can run against them in 2022 because everybody who ran on Medicare for all won. Just like you, Mark. You ran for Medicare for all, except you're not going to fight for it at all. You're not going to do a fucking thing, are you? No.
No, right. There's a difference between not doing a thing and doing the thing that you specifically want. Why the fuck should they listen to you specifically? I'm not saying, he's an American citizen, so they should listen to him in that respect. But he's one dude. He's one dude with a wacky as fuck internet show. That's it. Why the fuck should they listen to you specifically for tactics, you dopey shit?
In fact, you're going to gaslight, which is lie, to people who need health care.
No, gaslighting doesn't just mean lying. The abuse of the phrase gaslighting is really annoying because it's a real thing and it really happens and it's really abusive and destructive. It doesn't just mean it's lying. You can lie without gaslighting.
That's what he's doing.
You can't gaslight without lying.
Well, and you want to talk about careerism. Look, it will go on your permanent record if you vote against health care during a pandemic in 2020.
Yeah.
So again, they're not doing this for any constructive purpose. They know it can't pass. So it's just so we can take reprisals later. Again, way to make yourself look like an enemy within and be more distrusted by the Democratic voters. Who, again, I don't know, just put this out, but 80 million people just voted for Joe Biden. That doesn't bode well for progressivism as such, does it? Because he's pretty fucking centrist, milquetoast dude. So you've got work to do. You've got a potential voter base. That's important and good and awesome, right? But they've yet to be really convinced, because Bernie Sanders wasn't getting 80 million fucking votes. Okay, you've got work to go. You've missed out the bit between starting the process and ending the process. That being the fucking whole process.
Yes.
That will not be forgotten ever.
Risking on having the Democrats have the speakership is dangerous because we could have 1, 2, 3 people with COVID not showing up. That means our margin could be as few as 1 seat. And the Republicans, we could make some really big mistakes.
He's making again, he didn't think this through. This is a guy flailing. This is a guy, he goes, we could be down to 1 seat. So that means you can extract stuff from Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, extract stuff. Not your specific plan. Again, your specific plan here, Jimmy, is dumb as fuck. It's literally completely failed from the start. It's a no-go. It's a joke. It's a farce. And everyone knows it, which is why AOC basically told you to fuck off. In nicer terms than that, but basically, no, that's not going to happen. What are you doing, right? So stuff and your specific plan are not the same thing, okay? You can extract a great deal more, and I'm sure they are. Like he mentions all these people. It's Premier Jayapal is the chairperson of the Progressive Caucus, who will be doing the negotiating with the other people within the Democratic Party, right? And potentially with the GOP at some point on bills, maybe. I think they still have. I think in America they still pretend to do bipartisanship occasionally. And it generally revolves around more military spending, which is rather unfortunate. But there we go. So it's her that will be doing the thing. But people don't seem to know that because she's not like the famous one that gets the clicks. You put AOC in the title. That's what gets the clicks. If he'd put Premier Jayapal wants you to make power uncomfortable, that wouldn't have got as many clicks, would it? Anyway, so yeah, they can extract various things from her because it is a tight Congress, as we've explained before. But your plan's dumb, so why would they do that? It's nonsense.
For your vote. You can. You yourself can, Mark. You don't need to get a bunch of people. Just you. And he won't do that either. Isn't that kind of amazing?
On that. So one, it's not 15. I have no idea where that number comes from, but I've seen that on some social media. 2, it's not a strategy that works because it wouldn't pass if we brought it to the floor. So that's not something I would want to do as a strong supporter of Medicare for All. And 3, playing with this at all is very risky because we very likely will have people out for COVID. That's just the reality. The margin is so small, we can't give up the chance to have the speakership and all the committee chairs and everything else. So whoever put that out there, I don't think did a lot of thinking.
Turns out everybody agrees with me. I'm the person who put that out there, Mark. Everyone agrees with me. Even people who don't agree with me agree with me.
No, I don't agree with you. You're a dipshit. Is the person in chat being legit, saying in time we will find out how many votes were stolen by the left? He didn't get 80 million. The fuck are you talking about? I hope that's a meme. I hope that's a joke rather than someone being genuine. But perhaps not. I don't know.
That's a good idea.
I should stop reading from the chat and force you to pay me in the super chats. Go to streamlabs.com/KFLogan1875 if you want me to read shit.
Yeah. People who fucking don't like me. People who on the regular bad faith attack us are saying this is a good idea.
Who? Who is saying this is a good idea? It's such an obviously dumb idea. Why would you do a thing you know is going to fail? Genuinely, why would you do that? It's like I don't know. It's like fucking Pickett's charge, but you know the end result and you still do it anyway. No, you're getting slaughtered. It's dumb.
So him saying that is a bad bullshitter. That's a transparent fucking liar. And if Tom Hartman lets him get right away with it, didn't push back one bit. I bet he was busy. He's probably reading his Twitter feed or whatever.
Lets the callers talk. Goes on Twitter.
Who's this other twat? I don't know who he is. Does it say in the description? Ron Placone? Is that him? Who's this dickhead? Yeah, that's him. Get your news with Ron. Who's this person? I don't know who that is. Do they have a YouTube? No, they have an album? Are they a musician then? Okay. Okay, whatever. He's some dude. Whatever.
So they say things come in threes, but Mark Pocan couldn't even come up with a third shitty excuse. We can't risk.
Yeah, no, the people knew the result of Pickett's charge, but I think General Lee didn't. R.I.P. Kev's potential super chats. Okay, I'm not reading the chat then. I'm not reading the chat. You have to pay me. That's it. Anyway.
What he's saying, Ron, is we can't risk letting the Republicans take over the speakership, because then we would have someone who would stop all of our progressive policies from being voted on.
Right.
No, I know I can't have super chat. I mean, look, if you go to streamlabs.com/KFLogan1875, you can do effectively the same thing as a super chat. You can give me money and it pops up on the screen and makes a noise. It's better than a super chat.
Right.
What? That's what Nancy Pelosi's doing.
The link is in the description.
That also doesn't make sense. Saying we need to. So what he's saying is what Mark Pocan is saying is we need to support Nancy Pelosi for Speaker and get absolutely nothing for it.
No, he isn't. I mean, he didn't say that. Again, your plan, Jimmy, is not the only option available. Both in terms of healthcare and in terms of what might be extracted from the situation by progressives. You fucking dumb bastard. What the fuck are you talking about? This is what I mean by being vainglorious. He can't see past his own stupid plan. Which is only put out there so he can attack progressives, because essentially he's a kind of weird controlled opposition fake piece of garbage. That's all he's doing now, you know.
Nothing. The last time she ran for Speaker, guess who challenged her?
My link in the description doesn't work. How dare you? Is that true? Yeah, it does. I just brought it up. What are you talking about? It does work, look. This is the link from the chat, from the description. And then boom, there you go. And you can give me all your money. It's even got a league table. Is that on the screen? Oh, it's hidden. Hang on. It's a league table. Tony and Lascagar and all those people. Thank you to all of you. It didn't work for you. I can't go there due to being at work. I hear excuses, Arian. I hear excuses. I don't hear the noise of you giving me money, though. I'm an awful shilling. I'm really shit at this.
Conservatives, the blue dog.
Why not go to fucking Raid Shadow Legends? The best mobile game ever.
Challenged her, and she conceded stuff to them. She moved to the right.
You conceded stuff, not your specific plan. So, I mean... Or a specific plan. Like you're saying this is the only thing that could be extracted out of the situation, which is nonsense.
The progressive didn't even put up a challenger. They're not doing it this time, but they can withhold their votes. Saying we need to support Pelosi for nothing in return or else we'll get a Republican is like saying we need to support this highly carbonated sugary soda or else we're going to get Pepsi.
No, you dopey shit. I genuinely, this is what I mean by burnouts, right? They genuinely seem to think that the Republicans and the Democrats are exactly the same. That just because their specific plan, his specific plan, isn't being enacted, and won't be enacted, right? It's obviously not fucking gonna happen. My second Patreon link doesn't work. Sorry, I will get back to it. Streamlabs link. Oh, a thing happened. Oh, hang on, why is that there? Oh, God. Why is there a stream? Oh, for fuck's sake. Sorry, everyone. That's really annoying. Right. There we go, right. For some reason, the stream... Yeah, he went there. I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, a thing popped up on screen. Oh, where's my mini thing gone? Oh, bollocks. I'm really bad at this. Sorry, everyone. Dashboard. That's what I'm after. Yeah, I've sorted that now. The links do definitely work. So, thank you. Yeah, it is. I told you that I would boom her out. Where's the alert box? Where's the fucking thing? Recent events. Right. Thank you to Mumoof. Jimmy Dore is a whiny doo-doo head. Mediocre men always get uncritical support easily. Indeed. Indeed. I mean, ironically, you've given a mediocre man $1 to say that. So in that respect, yes, I've gotten, well, not uncritical support, but easy support, and I'm mediocre. So that's a thing. Yeah. Anyway. And thank you for the money. Yeah, and I've fixed my links now. For some reason, the Streamlabs and the Patreon had gotten mixed up at the bottom, but whatever. Thank you. What was I saying? Yeah, they seem to believe the Republicans and the Democrats are the same, and it's just not fucking true. Nancy Pelosi is centrist garbage who's been around for far too long and isn't very good at her job. That's fine. Well, that's not. It's not fine. Again, that's disturbed me. But thank you. That's fine in the sense that that's like the reality, right? I accept that. She needs to go. She shouldn't be reappointed. There should be new, fresh blood. As I'm sure there will be after Biden or whatever. The older generation, the boomers, need to move the fuck aside. Feinstein and Pelosi and Schumer and Biden need to fuck off, right? That's true. That's absolutely fucking true. Yeah, but to think that Nancy Pelosi, even at her most craven, is the same as Kevin McCarthy, who has, I think, rimmed Donald Trump even harder than Jimmy Dore here has rimmed Tucker Carlson, is a farcical notion. Look, Nancy Pelosi, even if you think it was performative nonsense, because ultimately didn't get him removed from his position, she did impeach Donald Trump. That's worth something. If just to annoy Donald Trump, it's worth something. Kevin McCarthy wouldn't have done that, obviously, because he voted against it. Anyway, thank you to John Henry Beck. Carlson is a Nazi. Now I know to ignore Dore. Yeah, basically. Oh, it's gone mental. Tony Blakeway, thank you. Liverpool top of the league. I'm not even reading that last bit. I told you not to post Nazi shit. Now he says Kevin loves the Villa, which isn't true. The Villa are a filth, absolute filth, up the blues. Okay? And Liverpool are top of the league, yeah. Did you see, by the way, I'm going to get a little bit of sport for a second. Did you... Oh, hang on. What the fuck? Bits. Thank you to Nikki with 100 bits. I don't know what bits do. A bit's a thing. Anyway, it says do bits to work. Bits work. You can go onto the Twitches. Follow me on the Twitches. Follow me on the Twitches. You can give me bits and subscribe and all of that. Apparently bits are money, aren't they? I don't know. Anyway. Yes, did you see Tim Sherwood's thing? Pride 100 do bit donos pop up? They do, and I haven't changed it to a gritty or anything because I didn't. I haven't changed. I think I've only changed the donations to the thing. Yeah, Tim Sherwood's thing. Tim Sherwood, former midfielder and whatever. Yeah, former footballer. But this is just funny, right? This is just a piece of like speaking slightly too early. Also, actually, former Villa manager, wasn't I? Well, very, very ineffective at it. Videos. Right, so yeah, the game happened last night. It was Liverpool versus Tottenham, right? Distractionation. Anyway, so Tim Sherwood's this guy in the bottom right-hand corner, commentating. Liverpool and Tottenham are 1-1 in the last minute of the game. Liverpool have a corner, which is this, and Tim Sherwood's analysis is... Whoa! Oh, it's gone mental, thank you. Well, we'll get to the comments in a second. This is just funny because he says a thing and then the opposite thing happens.
Another corner. Not too worried about these corners. I mean, it might come back to bite me here, but I think Tottenham have got the dominancy in the air there, you know, so not sure anyone can get the head of the first ball for Liverpool, apart from that. Oh, Tim! It's Firmino in the 90th minute.
Oh.
Wow, what a header.
So he says, nah, I think Tottenham will be alright here. Boom, goal. Oh, fucks. I mean, as a person who has to make, like, political, like, predictions and stuff, I've gotten them wrong before. I said Hillary Clinton would win and stuff. But it's rare in this game that you get, like, disproved, like, literally the next second after you say a thing, which is what happened there. Which is very funny. Anyway. Where are we? Priority 76 gives $1, says, get your cock out. Well, I'm not doing conservatives of cancel culture, so is that literally you want me to get my penis out? That would be against terms of service. Also, I'd have to get my higher resolution for the number of pixels necessary for my tiny cock. By Pagerman gives $5, no comment, and $15 from Post Havoc. Thank you. With again no comment. Don't know what's happening there. And Nikki S followed. Thank you to all of you. Genuinely, your support means the fucking world to me. I genuinely mean that. I don't often interact with my subscribers in a genuine, heartfelt way, but I'm so grateful that anyone gives a fuck about this. Why would anyone give a fuck about this? It's madness. But thank you anyway. Oh, hang on. I pressed the wrong fucking button. Kev is starting an OnlyFans. No one would pay for my OnlyFans. I'd get my pussy out on OnlyFans. Rory Cats.
That it might not pass. His second excuse that it might not pass. That's code for
No, not that it might not pass. It won't pass.
I want to shield all my colleagues who would vote against healthcare during a pandemic.
No, I don't want to waste my time and political capital on a futile effort. Yeah. Like, it's easy to sit there and rant on the internet. Trust me, I'm doing it right now, Jimmy. You know full well as well that it's very easy to rant and say dumb shit on the internet and there are no real consequences. In fact, I've ranted and given dumb shit and people have just given me money for it and I bless them dearly for it, but that's not a negative consequence. That's a very positive consequence. And indeed, you make even more money than I do, of course, having a bigger subscriber base and all the rest of it, for saying dumb shit. Whereas, in politics, I mean, you can still make lots of money doing it, but you can be voted out of office. You get a hell of a lot of hatred pushed your way by people like Jimmy Dore, and all the rest of it. And you know that you're not playing silly games on the internet. This affects real people's real lives. So, I mean, it's very easy to be an armchair warrior, Jimmy. These people are actually doing things in the real world.
That's what that is.
That is exactly.
This is the kind of stuff he was tweeting about, by the way. So I went this week. His phone bank got overloaded with people from our show calling him to do this. They had to shut down their phone messaging. He doesn't mention it at all on his Twitter thread. But what does he do?
He's affiliated with Russia Today. Is that true? Oh God, it's even worse. What a propagandist.
He tweets out this. It's time to end the racist Hyde Amendment once and for all. He's saying that the Hyde Amendment takes health care away from poor people. Hey, if you want to make sure that poor people have access to abortions, because that's what the Hyde Amendment is, give them Medicare for all.
He wants to give them Medicare for all. Your plan doesn't get them Medicare for all. Look at the smugness on his face. Like, if they just did what I did, people would have healthcare. No, they wouldn't. Your plan wouldn't get a single person healthcare. And I know that's frustrating. Trust me, as a person who is very, very blessed to live in a country where we do have universal healthcare, I desperately want that for Americans. I think Mark Pocan wants that for Americans. I actually think Jimmy Dore does want that for Americans too. It's just his plan won't get you there. His plan won't get you an inch closer. In fact, it might put you further away, because the scarring nature of such a bad loss at the very first hurdle of that bill would put our future speakers and Congress people from even trying it. That's the fundamental point here. Not only will it not get anyone healthcare, it will actually set back the concept or the possibility of it happening.
But he won't. He'll virtue signal by doing shit like this. Look how much I care about...
You're virtue signaling. Your entire plan is virtue signaling.
People who are poor. But I would never risk holding my vote away from Nancy Pelosi to get them health care.
No, again, I don't know what this person or the Progressive Caucus plan to do in terms of potentially threatening that. But your fucking plan, again, I'm basically done with Jimmy at this point. We'll get on to conspiracy corner in a second. Your plan of withholding their votes for a Medicare for all vote doesn't get you anywhere. It doesn't get people, a single human being, healthcare. It doesn't get a single motherfucker healthcare. And ultimately, in the long term, will set back that process. So your self-aggrandizing, smug twattery is not exactly what's needed right now. I'm sorry that Bernie lost, and I genuinely am. I supported Bernie Sanders. I desperately wanted him to become president. I think that would have been fucking dope. But it didn't happen. You have to get the fuck over it, you people. The burnouts, like fucking Jimmy Dore and Carl Kalinske and the fucking scumbags over at Chapo Trap House, they need to fucking grow up. Move past it. Bernie lost. He's never going to be president. That sucks donkey dick. Major, major donkey dick. But it's true. And if you ever hope to actually have an impact on the political process, you have to start from a fundamental basis of reality. Not just, I'd like it to be this way. Yeah, I'd love for this vote to go to the floor and for it to pass, and then the Senate pass it and fucking Biden signs it or whatever. That'd be grand. Fantastic. It's not going to fucking happen. In order to be effective, you have to know what the baseline reality of your situation is. What are the concrete circumstances we currently exist in? And then you can come up with a plan that will actually enact public policy that will positively impact the lives of poor people. If you don't, you get fucking nowhere. And people become disenfranchised with it. Because they say, well, they tried to do Medicare for all and it didn't fucking work. What's the point? Then they don't go and vote and the fucking country goes to, I don't know, Donald Trump number 2 next time. Maybe your mate Tucker Carlson gets in. You'd probably love that, wouldn't you? Maybe he'll make you fucking... give you the head of the department for fucking homeland blowjobs or whatever. Anyway, apologies. So Jimmy Dore is a dipshit. That's the main point there. So, we end with something that's arguably as dangerous in many respects. Right. Conspiracy Corner. I still don't have an intro for Conspiracy Corner because I'm a lazy motherfucker and I don't do intros myself. I've tried and they're always shit. So if someone wants to make me an intro for Conspiracy Corner, you can do so. If not, then it's Conspiracy Corner, Conspiracy Corner. That's the intro, right? Anyway, so we talked in the previous Conspiracy Corner about YouTube shutting down conspiracies around the 2020 US election. And in that, they were like, they tried to come across as saying that we wanted to, or they wanted to end or try and curtail the spread of misinformation around important, current, ongoing events and around historical events and stuff. If that were literally true, of course, then channels like the one you are looking at right now, which is called A Call for an Uprising, which you might see there is the full thing is A Call for an Uprising for Jesus. This channel will be taken down. If YouTube were genuinely serious about wanting to curtail the spread of bullshit, absolute total fucking bullshit, on the internet, or on YouTube, obviously, they can't really affect other things, but on YouTube, they would get rid of scum like A Call for an Uprising. And this person is absolute trash, okay? They are they are a believer in things like the Illuminati. They are enormously anti-Semitic. They are fervently like Christian fundamentalist. They are, and content warning comment, incredibly transphobic. They are COVID deniers. They think the COVID vaccine is potentially the mark of the beast. We'll get into that. And generally just very, very dangerous. Oh, and also a massive fan of Donald Trump. But, you know, whatever. We got a message, didn't we? Right. Noah Golden says, I have been on and off on Twitch since 3 years now and I still don't know what bits are. Fair. I still don't know what bits are. But thank you for bits. Apparently it's a money thing, but I don't know. I don't know how that works. Is 100 bits 100 pence? 10 pence? £1 million? I don't know. I'd be surprised if it was the latter, but there we go. Maybe, who gave me bits? Nancy S. Yeah. And thank you for that. They actually gave me, Nikki S. Apologies. And they actually gave me bits before then following. So they were not a follower and then gave me bits. And then followed. Thank you. Anyway, and thank you to Noah for your comment. It's good to know I'm not the only person who doesn't understand how any of this fucking works. Anywho, so we're going to take a look at A Call for an Uprising. Like I say, this is transphobic garbage. You'll see why in a second. I would ask that you go and flag this fucking video because this is so obviously against terms of service. It's COVID denial stuff. It's transphobic as fuck. It threatens violence against other people. We'll get into it anyway. It's called Agenda 2021 to make our lives living hell if we don't comply. It's crazy. Look at the fucking thumbnail. It's 3 coronaviruses, whatever, 666, and someone with a syringe. So the vaccine is the corona devil or something. Anyway, it's mental.
If you've ever had this feeling that...
Oh, by the way, this is the person's intro, right? Which they chose to put on their video. This is fucking incredible, man. This is like, you're going to think that, like, I don't know, that this is made up, or that this is like a satire of what a conspiracy theorist person, like, if I was doing like a web comic series or a web like cartoon animated series about conspiracy bullshit, this would be the intro to the show, right? This would be me taking the piss out of them, and this is the show. This is the intro he puts on all of his videos.
If you've ever had this feeling that something was terribly wrong with the world that we live in, but you couldn't figure out just what it was, then you've come to the right place. Secret societies, mystery religions, and the Illuminati.
Illuminati!
Have been controlling our reality since the beginning of time. But not anymore, because there is an awakening happening, and you are about to become a part of it. Wake up, because this is a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Well,
wow, that's quite an intro, isn't it? That is quite an intro. Also, I like the fact that he redacts this, so it just... I mean, to me, this reads, yes, your boss can fire you if you refuse to get a cock vacuum. That's what this sentence clearly says. How could it be anything other than that? Surely it wouldn't be refuse to get a corona vaccine or COVID vaccine. It's clearly cock vacuum. Which, I mean, why would they fire you for that? As long as you're not doing it on company time, I don't see why it's up to them. Well, that sucks. Hey. Anyway. Yeah, so this is nonsense. And as you can see here, actually, is that on the screen? Yeah, 394,000 subscribers. Come on, YouTube, behave yourselves. This person needs to be fucked off immediately.
welcome to today's show. Life as we know it for us who are refusing to put you-know-what in our body.
Penis. He means penis. Oh, well, you know.
Have it stuck in us. We'll never go back to the way it was. And for some people, they don't really care. And for others, they do. Now, I'm one of the people who is on the... I mean, I care a little bit because I like to travel. And now I know it's not even just going to be international.
Also, this guy's really boring, by the way, but it's he gets into it later. But, yeah, he's really boring and obviously doesn't script his shit, which is really, really frustrating. Like, I always thought you had to put effort into YouTubing, but he just didn't.
Eventually, it's going to be
just
state
make
to
up any
state,
old shit, you know.
entering a state, because they're going to be afraid of, they'll have their own rules, somebody bringing it in from another state, if you refuse to be tested, if you refuse to get the shot. And that kind of bums me out a little bit. But I'm 100% in no way, shape, or form ever getting it put in my body. So it's the new reality that I'm faced with, and I guess we're all faced with, right? But this video is to show you how they're going, and I've said this, if you've watched me this entire year, I said this in March. I talked about how this was going to lead not just to the, mass amounts of shots that are going to be given, not that it's going to be mandatory, but they're going to squeeze people out. How many times have you heard me say it? They're going to squeeze you out because they're not going to let you do anything.
I think you've been squeezed out of an arse. Oh yeah, I'm calling him shit.
Unless you get it. And this is where we all have to be strong, because we're not going to be able to travel. We're not going to, some of you are going to lose your jobs over this. Maybe you can sue, maybe you can't. I don't know. They say that you can't because it's the business's right to do that. But, I mean, you can say for religious purposes as of now, but that's going to change too.
What religious thing is it? Is there a religious objection to vaccines? Is that something I'm not aware of? I know, well, actually, is it Rastafarians, I think? You can't have blood transfusions? Wasn't that a thing wasn't that why Bob Marley died or something? Because his toe got cut and infected, and then he couldn't have a blood transfusion for religious reasons. But are vaccines a thing? You can't. What religions are they? I don't know. I suppose I could look into it, but it doesn't really matter. This person's crazy.
That's not going to last very long. And I believe it is your choice to take this.
Oh, Jehovah's Witnesses, okay.
And they're telling you it is because they don't want to seem suspicious about it. But they're also saying, look, you ain't going to be able to do nothing. No concerts, no sporting events. And eventually this is going to...
Yeah, because if you don't get vaccinated, you're putting other people's lives at risk. Look, fundamentally, it comes down to you're going to spread an illness that could kill people around you. Here is an opportunity for you not to do that, and if you don't take that opportunity, you can't go and do those things. That seems like a fundamentally sound piece of public health planning or policy. Sorry, bud, I know you don't believe COVID's a real thing, but it is. You fucking irresponsible dickhead.
Going to be buying or selling. That's why a lot of people believe it is the mark, because they don't think you'll be able to go to the grocery store, buy or sell. But listen to how they're talking about this
the
becoming...
mark of the beast. Some people think it's the mark of the beast. So, some people think the Earth's flat. That's also wrong, by the way. Call for an uprising, just in case.
The new normal
I don't know
and the
if he is a
repetition
flat
here,
earther,
because
but-
they're preparing everybody for this now. The Vax passport is not just going to be a passport for you to fly with. It's going to be a day-to-day, going to restaurants, going in and out of businesses or places type of thing. Where
Yeah, because as with in times past, if someone had leprosy, they would they were quite cruel in many respects, but they would force them to go around ringing a bell so that people could hear that and move away from them. Now, in this instance, you don't even have to do that. You can't go to places. If you refuse to participate in protecting everyone's health, then you don't get to participate in the rest of society either. This seems like a really straightforward thing. A really straightforward. Do you care about society and you get to exist in society, or do you only care about yourself? In which case, you can stay by your fucking self then.
they're literally going to lock all of us out and discriminate against us.
No, it's not discrimination based on a fundamental characteristic, which is the fucking weird straw man he tries to make it. You can't discriminate against someone for being, say, a different racial grouping or a different gender or something like that, right? Because those aren't things that people can choose. Those aren't things that people can choose. And they can't change. They are what they are, you know? And I know people come out as transitioning, but that's a realisation of a false belief they initially had about themselves, rather than a change, right? It's an innate characteristic. Whereas you being a selfish piece of shit, you could just choose not to be that. You could just choose not to be a willfully ignorant piece of garbage who refuses to care about other people's health, go and get the vaccine, and then go to as many restaurants and sporting events and concerts that you like. It's very simple.
Because they're going to use the excuse of, well, you're going to make somebody sick. Even though there's a lot of people, especially ones who claim to be opposite, they have junk in their pants and they claim to be something else. They make me sick, but I mean, nobody seems to be locking them out of anywhere.
Firstly, fuck you transphobic piece of shit. Secondly, let's take the analogy you use, right? Okay, you don't like trans people. Again, fuck you. But also, you can't catch transness from the fucking air around you. It's not like a trans person breathes and some particles of trans get in you and you become, I'm a lady or something, right? That's not how that works. They get in through the mind. No, I'm joking. There's no, you can't catch being trans. And it's not deadly. So, it's not analogous to coronavirus, because coronavirus is airborne on droplets from people who have it, particles in the air they breathe in and out, and can fuck people up really badly, and in many cases, millions in fact now around the world, kill them. So it's not an analogous situation, and also still fuck you transphobic piece of garbage.
And asking questions about their mental health. No. So how come when it comes to this, when it comes to our bodies and what we put in it, we're going to be discriminated and shamed against? Well, because they want it in everyone.
Discriminated and shamed against? Yeah, you should be shamed for your fucking stupidity and selfishness. Yes. I'm not generally one. I don't like the idea of shaming for various different things. But when it comes to people being selfish pricks, yeah, I think you should be shamed. I think there should be social pressure placed upon you not to behave like a selfish wanker. Yeah, I make no apologies for that. Fuck you.
Make sure that everyone gets it, and they know that the people on the fence are the ones they have to persuade into getting it. So here is the repetition, and here is what the world is going to look like.
For approval this week, there are new questions about whether you will soon need to prove you've been vaccinated before heading to work, school, or vacation.
Oh, was someone searching for this? Sorry, the person in the chat. Were you searching for this to downvote it? Or to not to downvote, to flag it? Yeah, don't. By the way, don't down. I'll put the link to this in the chat so people can go and fucking strike it, because it's obviously hateful bullshit. But don't downvote it because don't downvote it because that actually helps the algorithm. Don't downvote, don't leave comments, don't do anything under videos that you don't like. Just ignore it and move on. Because it helps the algorithm enormously when you do that. If you have any interactions, even negative ones, because YouTube don't care whether you like the video or hate it. The fact that you're interacting with it matters. So don't downvote, just flag it because it's obviously hateful.
Zareen Shah joins us with that story. Good morning, Zareen.
Good morning, George. For airlines and venues, proof of a vaccine could be the ticket to getting back to normal.
This morning, questions swirling. Could businesses, schools, sporting events, or even airlines make you prove you've taken the shot? Qantas Airways.
I'll skip ahead here. Basically, he plays some clips from news bits, basically saying the thing he said about, like, oh, they're going to squeeze you out of society, and this is them saying, well, yeah, if you don't get the thing, you're probably stopped from going places. Okay, like, I mean, yeah. Was anyone denying that was going to happen?
Possible to also say, unless you've had a test within a certain amount of time. But that's the place where I expect it to happen first. The last place is probably going to be governments.
And again, this is just nothing more.
How do you flag? You go to the three dots here. Hang on, is that on the screen? You go to the three dots and it comes down, report. You can also have open transcript if you want to see the words. But just report, and then it gives you various options, and you choose one. And on this one, you can either say transphobia or threats of violence, which are upcoming.
More than discriminating against a certain group of people. They're literally...
Like you were discriminating against trans people a second ago. Yeah, hypocrite.
Locking us out is what it's going to become. They're going to lock us out from being able to do anything. We're going to be prisoners like we are now in our own home. That's the way it's going to be. And it's just something we're all going to have to bear, right? You have to be strong through it. You have to realize, you know what? It ain't worth taking the mark to be on.
Taking the mark? It's not legit. It's a fucking vaccine, you dopey shithead.
Comfortable in this world, because we're all already uncomfortable in this world. None of us fit in here.
Yeah, you're
We're not of this world. All these zombies, they're of this world.
Actually, this is the thing, it's zombies. And he goes on, he'll mention things. It's the arrogance of these motherfuckers that really annoys me. Like, they genuinely think they're above, like, normal people. Because they're all sheep, and I know the real truth. It's such wank.
They're the me. You know, build treasure on earth type of crowd.
You back Donald Trump, a man you believe to be a billionaire for president, so suck my dick. Also, me. You're the one who doesn't want to help other people's fucking health. You're the one that wants to actively endanger the lives of other human beings.
Their soul for a buck. That type of thing. Us, well, we know what's coming after. But we're going to have to grin and bear. Now, this in no way, shape, or form is fair. And the people on the, I guess you just call the liberals the ones who are, I mean, I saw some statistics yesterday about pro-vax. How can you be pro-vax, right? And I'm saying it from the standpoint, there's people who are anti, and then you should just be somebody who's like, well, I don't know, I'm just going to get it because...
No, you can be pro-vaccine because vaccines save untold lives. Just enormous, unthinkable numbers of lives. Be it the polio vaccine or the smallpox vaccine or indeed the COVID vaccine when it starts rolling out. That's why you're pro-vaccine, you dopey shit, is that you think they're planting fucking microchips and giving you cancer. Like he insinuates later that they're trying to, the corona vaccine's going to kill you.
I have to get it to go back to normalcy or go back to work. But there's people who are like pro it. They're like, they want it and they want to make sure we all get it. I mean, they're insane. They're the lowest IQ people. And that's what I've learned of these people who act intelligent. They
act intelligent. Also, that's just a cute little image of a little porcelain pig with a mask. Aww.
speak intelligently, like the Satanic Temple and all these people, about
the Satanic
these scientific
Temple.
wonders. And they're all, you find out like they're all dropouts. And that doesn't mean anything. I get it, because school is, you're learning fit. But I mean, they're just...
See, that's the cognitive dissonance. School's shit, but if you drop out of school, that's also bad. It's almost like you want to build a world where whoever agrees with you is smart and whoever doesn't agree with you is stupid, which is really silly.
There are people who they've lived their life as the dumbest people in town and the dumbest people in their group of people they associate with, and they now act like they're the smartest people because they listen to the news.
Well, at least those people have
and
friends.
They don't even realize they're just completely under control. They're persuaded. They don't individually think. They have no thought process. And I mean, these are like...
Yeah, unlike you, who thinks that you can catch trans through the air. Yeah, you're the big-brained, galacto-brained individual in this conversation. Yeah.
I see these videos people sharing with me of just dork after dork here on YouTube that they do videos. They're either men who think they're women, or they're guys who are collecting Pokemons in their 30s with, bad hygiene and blubber all over their bodies.
I don't appreciate that very personal call out. There's no need. Also, motherfucker, you're ranting on the internet? I don't think you get to pretend to be the cool guy. Like, come on. You're making still image videos with you off the cuff ranting about how vaccines are the devil. You're not like the cool hip dude. You're a weird boomer crazy bastard. Like, give me a fucking a trans Pokemon collector over scum like you any day of the week. Any day of the week. In fact, give me the turds of a trans person who collects Pokemon cards over you.
And they're like acting like they have a clue. I mean, these people, and then what they do is, somebody sent me a thing yesterday. There's like a Reddit forum of people trying to shut my channel down. I mean, are these people kidding me? Are you kidding me? And I'll tell you right now, I find any of these people, and if something does happen and they shut my channel down, they do all these types of things, they don't even know. They don't know.
You don't even know
who I am. They don't know what I'm capable of, and they don't know what I would do if I ever ran into them. But I know who they are, so that's just...
So that's a threat. That's a threat of violence. Bring it. I've told people to go after you. I've told people to fucking specifically flag down your videos because I think you should be removed from YouTube. Yeah. Come at me, bro. We've got an internet tough guy over here. Fucking call for an uprising. Oh, they don't even know. I'm a fucking ninja. While they were collecting Pokemon cards, I was studying the blade. Like, fuck off, man. Some internet fucking weirdo. You'll have to fucking change into your fresh underpants away from your jizz-stained ones first, eh, chap?
It's not a threat. That's just me shooting from the hip.
That is you.
Because
that is definitely you.
The bottom line is, no one's taking away my right to speak. And I'm not
Who's taking away your right to speak? Again, with this fucking right-wing fucking delusion that having a YouTube channel is your right to speak. That's not what free speech is. Fuck's sake.
Telling these people not to get a shot. The people who listen to this channel have made the decision on their own. Nobody who is over here has any interest. That's why we're all here. We're all like-minded. Those of
you're in a bubble. You're in a bubble of crazy bastards on the internet. Yes, that's undoubtedly true.
Karen, quote-unquote people, the SJWs, the social justice warriors.
I don't appreciate this very personal call-out.
At this point, at this stage, I would like you to take it. Because we've had enough. Let's get these people to take it, put their money where their mouth is, and let's see where they're at 5 years from now and how they're feeling. Okay? Because I don't have time to care or waste.
Really, you don't care? It's just you're making an 18-minute video about it. But you don't care. Okay, cool. Good stuff.
I care about my family. I care about people close to me. Of course, I don't want them to do this. But at the end of the day, it's their body and it's their choice. And all you could do is tell them the information you know and try to make them question things.
Oh, no, I hope they don't search for Birmingham, Alabama. Because for those who don't know, T1J, the one janitor, fantastic content creator here on YouTube, is called Kevin, and he's from Birmingham, Alabama. Yeah. So I hope, although we're very different, he and I, in terms of appearance, so we shouldn't mix us up. Kevin from Birmingham, Alabama, is a black dude with dreadlocks, which again is not my aesthetic. Really, that's not what I've kind of gone for, really. But anyway, the cool Kevin, as we know, yeah, that's how I know him too. He's my cool Kevin friend. Yeah.
But this game plan that they've come up with to completely squeeze everybody out of life, unless they get it, is how they're going to get people to do it. Completely make people say, wow, I can't work. I can't go to the grocery. You're not going to be able to go to restaurants.
Oh, yeah. He believes in my body, my choice, except when it's like abortion or anything. Women's reproductive rights, that's not their body, their choice. No.
You saw the video. They're talking about, you can't go to sporting events, concerts, whether it's something you go to or not.
Exactly. I can't be a Kevinist. Some of my best friends are Kevins. So, okay.
Whatever. That's just the beginning. They're showing you the bigger picture, right? Sprinkling down from passport of just flying, right? That's originally what it was. You won't be able to go internationally without it. And now they're coming out and telling you, like I said, you aren't going to be able to go here or there as well. You aren't going to be...
Yeah, because it's a disease. It's not a passport in the sense that, like, it allows you to travel across international borders because that passport already exists. It's about going from area to area and not infecting people in different areas. It's how diseases spread. I mean, you claimed it was how trans spread, I think, earlier, but that's really not how that works. It's not. Because, I don't want to get too much into my kinks, but I've had trans people cough on me, and I'm yet to experience dysphoria.
Be able to work at certain places. It's almost like we have to create our own utopia or something where we have restaurants for people who are not taking the shot, and people who take it aren't allowed in. Will that be allowed? Because they're discriminating against us. So all of us on the other side, we're going to have to and that goes against what they say, right? Because, you're not allowed to discriminate against somebody on their gender or anything like that, or their sexual.
Yeah, because no one chooses those things. They're innate characteristics. That's how that works. Whereas you choosing to be a selfish prick and infect other people with a deadly disease, that is a choice that you can discriminate on that basis, yes.
Sexuality, but you can discriminate on somebody who is skeptical of putting something in their body, right? Because it's safety concern. Well,
the groypers are back again. Well, at least they're not just typing 14 this time. Kevin, UK groypers streaming now. Come and have a chat with us. Why would I talk to you people? Ever. Your neo-Nazi filth. Go away. I'm not interested. Anyway.
It's a safety concern when I feel like children are around some of these absolute...
What good could be gained from talking to these people, really? Like, if you're a groyper, you're beyond, you're beneath bothering with. You're beneath contempt, let alone conversation. No, fuck you guys.
Just disgusting creatures of human beings who are just sexually perverse. And those are...
Again, I don't appreciate this very personal call out. How dare you? The plane's got a mask on now. That's awesome. I like to see socially responsible planes. It's good.
The same people who obviously target children as well, if you look at the statistics. But that's another story for me to share on YouTube. I mean, not on YouTube, on my website, because that's where you can talk about this stuff. But
no, groypers aren't people who grope people. No, they're neo-Nazis, basically. It's you'll have seen the Pepe meme, but the Pepe meme has a weird thing with its weird long arms, and it's often putting people into Nazi gas chambers or something. You probably, if you frequent the internet, you've probably unfortunately interacted with some of these gobshites. Nick Fuentes is one of the main cultural leaders of the groypers, and he's a Nazi prick. Who, by the way, talking about conspiracies, he doesn't believe dinosaurs existed. Like, not just the young Earth creationist bullshit about, like, oh, they're only 4,000 years old or something. Like, he genuinely doesn't think they ever existed. Like, he thinks they were all totally made up by scientists for some reason. Where is my mask? What, I'm in my own house. Why would I need a mask? Yeah, why would I need to bother with a mask in my own fucking house? Doesn't make sense. Anyway.
You can't shut these people out from a business, but you can shut us out.
Yes, because you people are selfish dickheads. You don't want to take a vaccine because the microchips or something.
We are skeptical because we don't want to put something in us. So...
join Patriarchal Alternative. No, Patriarchal Alternative are Nazis again. Oh, the Nazis. Hello, Nazis. Go away, Nazis.
I guess we can maybe start doing our own thing and starting, our businesses and locking out
white minority by 2066. Oh, that's not soon enough. I probably won't live to see that, which is obvious because then it would be a white minority. Oh no, that would be no white. Anyway, yeah, that needs to happen. That needs to happen sooner. We need to get rid of all of the white people in Minecraft a lot sooner than that.
The people that we don't want in because they're making us sick, right? And the people who take the vax, we don't want you inside because you're a zombie. So we'll have our anti-vax movie theaters, restaurants.
No, you won't. You'll go out of your house and be arrested for breaking lockdown rules without the vaccine. So you won't be able to set up anti-vax restaurants and stuff. You'll just be arrested and thrown in prison. Which, by the way, if I were you, a call for an uprising, I would look at the, frankly, charnel house conditions, the slaughterhouse conditions in prisons right now, where prisoners are just being left to die. There are just refrigerated vans on the grounds of virtually every prison, certainly in America, where they're just being left to die. So if I were you, going to prison at any time isn't great for any number of horrific reasons, which we don't need to go into, we all know. But especially now, because COVID is killing prisoners at a genuinely horrific rate. It's slaughter.
Maybe there's an actual billionaire out there who could start his own airline. Who knows?
And that's him. He thinks Donald Trump's a billionaire. Yeah.
But it's just going to continue to get worse. And the cell phone app is just the beginning, right? Of course it has to be digital. They talked about it originally being a card. And I mean, that's so easy to fake. They clearly need to have some type of digital thing that everybody's using, and eventually it'll be inside your arm. It'll have that in there and have your...
Sorry. Someone... I know this isn't the point or whatever, but... and thank you to the Nazis who've brigaded and helped my algorithm. That's cool. But I like the name of one of them, who's called Beer Hall Pooch. That's genius, because it's like Beer Hall Putsch, but it's Pooch. That's like if you were a Nazi and you owned a dog, you would have to call it Beer Hall Pooch. That's fucking genius. That's a genius pun. I mean, to be fair, it's like the only interesting creative thing a Nazi's ever really done. But that's fun. I can admire a good pun.
Your currency in there for our cashless society. And I'm just going on a rant here because I just think it's so important for everybody out there to stay strong.
I'm a paedophile now. It's interesting, isn't it? The Nazis have got two accusations. You're a communist and you're a paedophile. Surprising that. Everyone they don't like is both a communist and a paedophile, even though I'm neither. So, yeah. Well done. Well done, Nazis. You are nothing if not predictable in your boring, dumb fuckery.
It's hard to think like you've grown up living a certain way your entire life, and then suddenly you're just stuck inside and you're bored and you can't do this, and now they're demanding that people wear masks everywhere they go and even in your home. And we just have to bite our tongues, hold up our middle finger and say, you know what? We don't care. We're not giving in. You could take all these things away of this earth. We don't need them, nor do we want them. And when we get to the point where they won't let us buy our...
I'll be honest, I haven't listened to the last minute of a call for an uprising. I've been watching Nazis do Nazi shit in the chat. Well, what's the point? Gemma from Cambridge was right about demographics. I don't know what that means. Stan said she was 18. It was on the profile. Who's Stan? Who the fuck's Stan? And if she was 8... Well, okay, are they accusing me of fucking an 18-year-old? Because, I mean, that would be legal, wouldn't it? That would be genuine, that would be, like, literally fine, because the age of consent here is 16. So if she was 18, is that what they're accusing me of? Oh, Stan Collymore. Why is Stan Collymore an issue? Why are you referencing Stan Collymore? I don't think I've ever mentioned that man's name on my show ever. 14-year-old Nazis. You're a nonce. Thanks, yeah, that's definitely not just an accusation you're throwing out there because you're garbage. Kev, they're Americans, I bet. No, it looks like they're British, because they're going on about Patriotic Alternative, which is a British, I suppose technically a political party, but I would say essentially borderline terrorist group. Yeah, and they're going on about Stan Collymore, who's not a massive reference point for American Nazis. Yeah. But it looks like they're leaving now, because we're getting back to basically where we were before. So they've had their little moment, and we'll move on. Anyway, but Stan Collymore, I was not expecting Stan Collymore to pop up as a point of reference for tonight's show, but there we go.
Groceries and stuff, then we're just going to have to band together. And they're going to have to figure out another way to wipe us off. But in the meantime, they'll be busy wiping off the sheep, which they don't really care about anyway. That's what's
so yeah, the COVID vaccine's going to kill the sheep, apparently.
Funny about it, because these sheep who believe in them, they're the ones who are going to line up first. They're just going, all right, these people are idiots anyway. Satan's smirking because he's going, they're all like doing my work for me here on earth, and living in sin and acting the way they act and just being
so literally the devil is behind this. It's not just it's the mark of the beast, the devil is running the whole show. That's the thing that always got me with Christian theology. If God is all powerful, why does he let the devil do anything? Why is the devil allowed to get involved? He could just stop it. He could just say, no, devil, no. And use his mind powers or whatever, and zap the devil, and stop him from doing devil stuff. Well, yeah, but free will. Well, he's one of God's angels, so he wouldn't be interfering with a human's free will by stopping Satan getting involved. In fact, he would be aiding people's free will by allowing them to do stuff they would normally automatically do, but for the intervention of the devil. So he would actually be aiding people's free will. The devil doesn't get free will. He's a fallen angel. He's one of God's, creatures or whatever, right? So yes, he doesn't get free will. He's an angel. He's not a human.
Completely clueless, and he doesn't care. He's like, I'll see him in hell. Come on down. The pit's warm. And that doesn't mean if you get the shot that you're going to, unless you believe it's the mark, which I'm becoming closer and closer to thinking. I know transhumanism's involved.
Transhumanism's definitely involved. That's definitely true. Absolutely, 100%. It could be that this guy's totally making shit up and full of garbage, absolute nonsense, or it could be that he knows transhumanism's involved, and that it's the mark of the beast. Ugh, garbage.
I understand that, and I understand the buying and selling. I think it's all just coming together at once with this shot. And it's scary to see it happening in our lifetime. But remember, God put us here now for a reason, for us, because we could handle it. And we just have to endure from this point out. That's all we can do. So here's the squeeze, folks. It's coming, and it's coming fast.
Coming fast, like you. Anyway, I think we're done with a call for an uprising. We will return to this piece of shit, I'm sure, assuming his channel doesn't get taken down, which would be funny. Yeah. But we're basically... I don't need the intro. That's not good. There we go. So, what have we learned from tonight's show? We have learned that Tucker Carlson's garbage. Jimmy Dore is garbage. A call for an uprising is garbage. And that Nazis are momentarily entertaining but generally just garbage. Just garbage. And that apparently I'm a pedophile. Apparently, according to the Nazis. But then again, the Nazis are Nazis, so who knows? But I mean, look, it's on the internet, and they wouldn't allow it on the internet if they weren't if it weren't true. Only true things are allowed on the internet, after all. I'm going to get clipped anyway. Yeah, it's whatever. Like, it's obviously ridiculous and obviously out of context. They downvote. Did they downvote me? Oh no! Again, these people are dipshits. As explained earlier, if you downvote the thing, that just means it gets better algorithm scores. You're literally helping me. The YouTube don't give two fucks about whether it's a positive engagement or a negative engagement. If you leave a comment saying you're a piece of shit, I hope you die, that's literally the same algorithmic boost as if you said this is the best video I've ever seen, I will suck your pee-pee. Like, it doesn't matter to YouTube. But whatever, it's a thing. So whatever, it's, yeah, fine. Yeah, join me tomorrow. On yeah, I'll be back with Christy tomorrow evening. We'll be taking a look at probably some other US nuke agency got hacked. Okay, are they sending nukes to anywhere? As long as they only got hacked and no nukes were sent anywhere, that's good. Because if you're telling me Kev, you've got 2 minutes to live, that's a weird way of doing it. But thank you anyway. Oh my god, what's... Also, thank you, Flamdar, 4 months at tier 1. Thank you very much for subscribing. You can do so, by the way. The Twitch link is below if you want to go and follow or sub on Twitch. I watch on Twitch so I can pay Kevin to ignore me. That's my kink. I'm not ignoring you. I just mentioned you. Thank you. Thank you, Flamdar. Very appreciative. Yeah, you can go and do that on Twitch if you want to as well. You can give me your money. Actually, you can do it for free if you've got Amazon Prime. If you've got Amazon Prime already, you can give me your Bezos bucks. If you hook your Prime account to your what do you call it account, to your Twitch account, you can sub for free via Amazon Prime, if that's what you want to do. Thank you, Ram, for following as well. Although, I'll be honest, for follows, I might take the noise off. I'll leave the zombie on, but the noise, because that could happen quite a lot. Yeah. Anyway. So, thank you all for listening and watching. I'll be back tomorrow with Dr. Christy Winters for stuff. We'll be watching some stuff, I don't know. And then there'll be bookmarks. There'll be cute stuff tomorrow as well. There'll be cats and things, probably. Yeah. And join me then. At 7 PM UK time, 2 PM on the east coast of Americana land, and on Twitch I'll kick my people over to who's going. We've got Casey Explosion, so you can go over and watch Casey do whatever the hell she's doing. She's a good Irish trans comrade. 240 plus members of the Trump admin are seeking pardons. Good lord. Anyway, yeah, thank you all for listening and watching. And though the cowards flinch and traitors sneer, we'll keep the red flag flying here. No, pass around.